Everything you need to know about the new PSA Dagger coming up. Hey guys, it's Johnny with PewPewTactical.com, your definitive source for gun reviews, gear guides, and all things that go bang. Today we're taking a look at the Dagger from Palmetto State Armory. Now PSA has jumped head first into the striker-fired polymer pistol market. So what I'm going to do is tell you all about it. I'm going to show it to you up close. I get it out to the range, and this is maybe the biggest and most expansive range test I've ever got to be a part of. It's a lot of fun. I think you're going to see that. I got over 1,000 rounds downrange through the PSA Dagger. Yep, 1,000 rounds in the middle of an ammo shortage. And I did all of this to hopefully help you decide if this affordable 9mm Dagger is right for you. And before we go any further, yeah, the Dagger, yeah, it does take Glock magazines. Hey, if it's your first time here, we always put a ton of stuff down below for you to check out. I say it all the time, but there's a lot down there. There's also a link that's going to jump over to our website. And once you get on our website, look in the article. There's a lot here. Look up above, down below, go through it. There's a lot in there to help you out in the bang department. So check it all out, see what you think. And then finally, this one and a whole lot more merch is in our merch store. And that link is, yeah, you know, it's right down below. Okay, so this is the Palmetto State Armory Dagger. I'm gonna call it the PSA Dagger over and over, but what I'm gonna do is tell you about it. I'm gonna tell you the specs and all the science stuff. Then I'm gonna talk to you about how it performed at the range during this test. And then finally, I'm gonna tell you both the good and the bad. It's a pretty good one. I'm going to give you a spoiler alert up front. It's a solid one. The PSA Dagger is solid, but I'm going to give you some good and some bad. You can already see that it is essentially a Glock Generation 3 clone, or you may want to say that it was reverse engineered. It is now released, and my editor hooked me up with one to try out. Not bad at all. Okay, what is it? Again, it's essentially PSA's take on the Glock 19 Generation 3, and get this, all of the parts are interchangeable with the Glock. That's big, big news. But there's also a few tweaks in here that I think you're gonna see. Now, side note, there's also talk on the internet that PSA is gonna be releasing just the frame and also slides with RMR cuts. I'm not sure, but that'd be cool with me. Both of those would be great, especially that slide having an RMR cut. So for this one today, we can kind of call it the Dagger Generation 1. All right, what is it? It's a striker-fired polymer frame 9mm semi-automatic pistol that holds 15 in the magazine and 1 in the chamber. Yep, it's really familiar package. Most of y'all know the Glock 19, super, super similar. Size-wise, it's a little over 7 inches long, 1.25 inches wide, and it's 4.78 inches tall. Barrel-wise, the Dagger has a stainless steel DLC-coated barrel that's just shy of 4 inches. And the whole thing weighs in at 22 ounces and a little bit of change. One feature I think stands out against the Glock is the stainless steel guide rod. Glock's is plastic and this one ain't. The controls and the takedown are going to be super familiar to you, and it field strips identical to a Glock, and all of those internals are of course familiar, and again I'm going to use the word interchangeable. No external safety on this one to fumble with in the dark, but it does have two things: a trigger safety and an internal striker block safety. The big thing you'll notice on the Dagger is the slide. It's stainless steel. It's got great texturing up front. We'll call those serrations. And also on the rear, so you can index it however you want, get a hold of it. It's got a good grip on it. That's up top on the slide itself. And also on the slide, there's going to be some cuts on the front and the rear. PSA are calling these carry cuts? I don't know. They're designed to prevent the slide from snagging when you draw it out of a holster, sort of a beveling down the slide, but to me it seems like it's kind of solving a problem that maybe people don't really have. I don't know. Now, as far as ergonomics, not to put too fine of a point on it, but yeah, in your hands it's going to feel exactly like a G19, but it does have a different grip texture. The grips on this one are, I'm going to call really good. I think it's a huge upgrade from stock Glock grips. Great texture with just a little bit of a palm swell to them. I'm gonna say they've got a little more grip, a little more grippy than Glock, but they aren't as aggressive in texture as maybe Taurus or SIG grips. There's a rail up front so you can throw on your favorite light for dark situations. Now, as far as aesthetics, yeah, it's a boxy black plastic pistol. Doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna call it okay. And I also think that PSA did an all right job with keeping their branding to a minimum. Little logo on the side of the grips, and like I said, the nitride finish on the slide is really clean. So in the looks department, I'm gonna call it a little better than okay. What it comes with is a really nice package, a black and blue box, and the packing material itself is squishy. And I think it's a really nice box to open on day number one. Inside is a challenge coin. I don't know what to do with it, but it's kind of cool. And it ships with one 15-round PMag. One. Now, I know some of y'all like to know this. The polymer frame is what is serialized on this one, not the fire control group. So the gun or the regulated part is the frame itself. Okay, I kind of buried the lead here. I know I did it, and I think some of y'all already know what I'm about to say. This next part is the big one. It's the MSRP. PSA is offering these at $299, which I think is far and away the most attractive part of the Dagger. It's what really has folks talking about it. This price, I think it puts them in the market in a really unique place for a 15-round compact pistol. And that's my question of the day for all of y'all. What do y'all think about that price? Is $299 on the price tag enough to get your attention? Let us know down below in the comment section. All right, enough of all that. Let's get out to the range. For this test, I got 20 boxes of Federal Brass 115 grain 9mm, and I let her rip. I also used every Glock style mag that I could get my hands on. Now, shooting 1,000 rounds sounds like a big fun time, which it is. It's genuinely fun at the range, but it's also a bunch of work. I shot, and then I shot, and I reloaded, and I shot some more. Throw in some Appalachian range Tai Chi to keep myself limber, and any guesses? Yeah, keep on shooting. It was a lot. And as a bonus on top of all of that brass that I shot, I also put in 100 rounds of Russian steel-cased ammo right down the pipe. All right, let's talk about the trigger. You can see that it has a trigger safety, which I think is a great thing to have. PSA is calling the trigger itself a flat-faced trigger. Somebody's gonna have to explain that to me. The uptake, I'm gonna say, is not all that great. It's not really clean or smooth, but the break is okay. And I really, really like the shallow reset. So on this one, on the trigger, the good and the bad kind of offset each other. So I'm gonna call the trigger okay. Overall, the Dagger, it shoots really, really well. Take a look at this. I didn't find it snappy at all. It eats the recoil, and you can get back onto target quickly and easy. And while shooting 1,000 rounds is a lot of fun, it really is, it's also a lot of magazine loading. Huge shout out to my Maglula Uplula speed loader. I'll have a link to that one down in the article. Pick one up for yourself. You can thank me later. Okay, let's talk about accuracy. I shot the Dagger really, really well. I, of course, pinged torso steel. Y'all know what I do. It's a lot of fun to hear that steel ring out. But I also did a lot of groups from different distances. Here's some 5-shot groups in real time from 10 yards out. I feel really, really good about the accuracy on this one, at least in my hands. The sights, of course, are a familiar 3-dot system, a single dot up front and a box cut in the back, but they're also made of steel, unlike the plastic Glock sights, so I like those. And of course, you can change them out super easy for night sights if you want to. And as far as how it held up for the test, the only wear I could find is just a little bit of wear off the top of the barrel. Overall, it ended the test just as strong as it started. So, How did it do? Well, the short answer is it ran really, really well. Mag after mag, the Dagger runs. Now, I'm about to tell you that it loaded, fired, ejected, and fed really well, which it did, but there is one caveat that I really need you to know. I consistently had trouble feeding the Dagger when the magazines were stuffed all the way full to capacity. It didn't matter if it was the Glock or the P-Mags, 15 or 30 rounds. If they were filled all the way up, the first round didn't want to feed. And it did that really consistently. About half the time it wouldn't go in. So to be very clear, as long as I put one less round in, it ran really, really well. The gun ran great. So yes, it loaded, it fed, it fired, it ejected, and reloaded really well. Solid reliability at 14+1. Not so much at 15+1. Maybe it'll get worked in over time. This is a brand new gun. And a lot of guns do that, to be fair, so this is not a unique problem to this platform. Now, you're also going to see me having trouble dropping the mags, but that's just my hands cramping up from all of the loading and me not getting the release depressed all the way in. Hashtag get to the gym more, Johnny. Okay, let me tell you what I like. First, the parts are interchangeable with the Glock 19 Gen 3. That's super important. The market is stuffed with options for triggers and sights and lights for the rail. Huge numbers of options for customization. I think that is fantastic. Second, I like how well it ran. It's a crisp, clean shooter, if that makes sense. It's a good shooting gun at the range. I had a lot of fun with it. And then third, of course, it's of course going to be that price tag. As more and more people join the 2A community and start taking their personal protection and their home defense into their own hands, I think PSA is crushing it by giving new gun owners a $299 option. That is fantastic. Now, as far as shortcomings, negatives, or at least things to think about, I've got three for you. First, of course, I've already shared that the Dagger didn't like to feed all the time when the mags were fully loaded. Again, a lot of pistols do this, but some don't. And keep in mind, this is only a sample size of one with a brand new gun, but for what it's worth, there you go. Second, there are no options for changing out the back straps. The grip just is what it is. Now, personally, I never change out back straps, but they've kind of sort of become an industry standard, even on budget guns like Taurus and Canik. So maybe folks will care that the Dagger doesn't have this option. I don't know. I don't, but some people do. And finally, the last drawback, I think only getting one magazine is lame-o. I'll gladly trade in that nice box and the packaging and that challenge coin for a single extra magazine that I'm actually going to use. But maybe for $2.99 I can afford to buy my own magazines. Now, not good and not bad, but there's two things right in the middle that I just want you to be aware of. First, I'm sort of a trigger snob. Y'all know that. And like I said a minute ago, I don't think this one was too bad, not at all. But I'm sort of holding my breath at what other reviewers are going to say about it. I've got a feeling that folks may not like it, but of course it's not hard to change out a Glock trigger. I'm going to put a link in the article to our Glock trigger guide. It's really solid, and I think it's perfect for the PSA Dagger. And second, my middle-of-the-road comment is about the newness of this platform. The Dagger, it just hit the market, and I really want to see a lot more guys and gals get rounds, thousands of rounds down the pipe. It's designed for personal protection, so it has to go bang every time. I had a solid experience, solid reliability, but again, sample size of one, so let's all keep an eye out on YouTube on how folks do with the Dagger in the coming months and years. Okay, at the end of this experience, here's where I am. Bottom line, it's a Glock 19 Generation 3 clone for $299, and the one that I tested ran surprisingly well. Let me give you some full disclosure. I went into this test sort of rolling my eyes at the whole project, like, okay, it's a $299 gun from PSA. It's gonna be cheapish and it's gonna be plasticish, maybe. But after the first night at the range, 700 rounds down the pipe, I texted my editor on the way home and said, OMG, this thing is good. And now sitting here, another 400 rounds down the pipe, I can honestly sit here, look y'all in the eye and say, for me, accurate, reliable, outstandingly priced. I tried to not like it, but I do. Like, I really, really do. So from me, I'm gonna give it 2 big thumbs up. I hope y'all enjoyed this journey as much as I did getting it ready for y'all. On behalf of the entire Pew Pew Tactical team, I'm Johnny, and we'll see you soon.